Joining me now in a Fox Business exclusive, the guy who's been disrupting the tech industry since early 2000s. He sold his company Angstrom to Google and has done business in Russia for years. OpenExo founder, entrepreneur, and venture capitalist Salim Ismail joins us now. Salim, what is going on in Vladimir Putin's head as he invades Ukraine? It was interesting because in the past, everybody said, well, sure, we went to Kuwait because we had major oil interests there. Well, Ukraine clearly has the ability to juke and jive when it comes to natural gas prices. Is this all going to be moot at some point? And is that why Putin is so aggressive / fearful?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Liz. What's the macro environment that's happening is we are moving from energy scarcity to energy abundance over the next few years, primarily driven by solar energy, which is doubling every 22 months in its price performance and has been doing so for 40 years. At that pace, we will be able to deliver all of our energy needs using solar in literally 10 years. And so we are a few doublings away from that. At that point, all of Putin's gas and oil reserves essentially go to near zero. We think oil will end up at about $14 a barrel, which will wipe out most of the oil-producing countries. He doesn't have the currency to do this later.
Why hasn't he been smart enough, like the Saudis, to diversify? I mean, several years ago, the Saudis said, we are way too dependent on crude oil. It really is all that Russia has when it comes to the fossil fuel opportunities there. They have a junky economy that's smaller than that of Texas. So clearly, you would think that if he were truly smart, he would be somehow expanding beyond the realm, the fences that keep him stuck to fossil fuels.
Well, this is a huge question, and actually Saudi is not moving away that quickly. It's very hard to shift a global economy like this or a national economy. The advantage that Saudi has is their extraction costs are very, very low compared to most of the world. I'm Canadian, and the extraction costs are almost $45 a barrel there. So Russia's extraction costs cause it to have huge problems down the line, and it's very hard to diversify a major economy. Even though Russia's is not that big, it's still big enough to have to transform the whole country to do this. 70% of their exports are oil.
You have not only worked in Russia, you have helped some Russian companies, and you've even presented to Russian government officials. Tell me what you believe is on their minds at the moment. There's some headlines about Vladimir Putin and how he hasn't been told the real story of what's going on the battlefield when it comes to Ukraine. They are getting horrifically smashed by the Ukrainians. And some of these are Ukrainian grandmothers with Uzi machine guns who are fighting back.
That's right. The challenge in an autocracy is you get bad information because nobody around you wants to tell you the truth if it's bad. And therefore, you get filtered information and you're not really seeing what's on the ground. And over time, that causes a massive issue. And when spending time there, it was very clear that the country was run by one single individual. And then all of the flaws of that individual descend into the government and into the structure. And that's why Russia has difficulties in the same way that most autocracies over time have enormous issues.
You know, we saw also that Moody's, the ratings agency, has said that Russia's invasion of Ukraine, in essence, is going to increase demand for cybersecurity. I mean, tech is your realm, and this falls under that umbrella. Intelligence officials believe that there is going to be a labor shortage when it comes to cybersecurity. We've been watching names like NortonLifeLock, CrowdStrike, Checkpoint. We've got a couple of them on the move to the upside, including Palo Alto Networks. Where do you see this sector going, and how invested are you in it?
I'm somewhat invested in the sector. I think it's an exploding sector, not just because of what's happening now, but China, U.S., Russia have been in somewhat of a cyber Cold War now for quite a few years. As we amplify and turn the world into more and more information, cyber is a natural defense point. And it's an arms race. You know, the hackers figure out how to do something bad, and then we figure out how to defend against it, and we just keep marching along. But there's no question the demand for cybersecurity and better vigilance is a huge issue.
Salim, I think what you've said about Russia's most important asset and resource, oil and natural gas, the value may go to near zero, is one of the most significant things that we've heard as to why he invaded Ukraine, trying to swallow up more land and to continue, at least with this fever dream he has about returning to Soviet-era dominance. It's just nuts. But thank you very much.
Great to be here.